Lately, my eating habits have gotten a bit out of control, so I'm going to try and regain some stability by intermittent fasting for 7 days. Now, I've always wanted to try intermittent fasting because at some point it seemed like it was everywhere. And what better time to start than now?
Now, this isn't a fad, unlike other diets where you focus on what you eat. Intermittent fasting is about scheduling meals within specific time frames. And this has been studied for years, and there's an argument to be said that we've evolved to go without food for hours. And something tells me that we shouldn't be endlessly eating to our heart's content. Now, before humans could farm and the invent of agriculture, we had to survive. So we never knew precisely when the next meal was coming. Compare that to present day, things are totally different. So there are many different types of fasting and eating windows. When it comes to eating windows, there's 8, 6, even 4. I'll be doing the 16-8 method. So I'll be fasting for 16 hours and have a feeding window of 8 hours. I've chosen to break my fast at 1 and begin again at 8 p.m. I'll be keeping my calories the same, so I won't be making any big changes to what I'm actually eating. So my aim is to see if I can incorporate this as a weight management tool. Will this help or hinder my workouts? Will I lose weight? Will I be able to stay on track? And most importantly, will I be able to manage my hunger?
So it's 7 o'clock and I'm walking to the gym. I'm not feeling the effects of the fast at the moment because quite honestly, I'm still waking up. So when you think about it, it's usually around this time where people break their fast, they have like something hot to drink, maybe it's sugary, or they have some type of pastry. Annoyingly, I haven't had my cappuccino today, but luckily I found some caffeine tablets, which should be good and they should hit the spot. So hopefully my workout will be just as good or even better. Let's see. Ooh, okay. Oh, that felt good. Right, so that was my last exercise and I'm done for the gym. And yeah, I'm gonna have my first meal, which I've nicely prepared. I actually don't feel that hungry today, which is ironic. I could probably go on for another 2 hours or so, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stay to the schedule, you know, and yeah, I've got the day to start, but yeah, feeling good and can't wait to have my first meal.
So I'm about to tuck into this bad boy. It's currently around 1 o'clock and I'm going to break my fast. So one thing that's actually really helped me out is actually preparing or pre-preparing part of my meals. So preparation is key. One thing you don't want is to be spending 1 to 2 hours worrying about your meals or cooking your meals. You want it to be as simple and easily as possible when it comes to eating. So I have some pre-made options already cooked and in the freezer. And this just eradicates any type of choice or dilly-dallying when it comes to just wasted time. I can access my food and it's quick and easy. So this, I think, is really gonna help me, aid me when it comes to doing this challenge. So one thing I've been using is this app called Zero, and I just wanted something visual to remind me of what I'm doing day to day when it comes to my individual fasts. And it's great because it lets me know when I've started my fast, how many hours I'm into my fast, and most importantly, when to break my fast. And it's got these little novel notifications that pop up each time you complete a fast and also when your next fast is coming up. And it's just a great visual reminder. Even though I could just look at the clock, this just helps me stay on track. Now, one thing I do a lot of is snacking. And that's one habit that I'm hoping to change. And it's been on my mind as to the reason why we actually snack. Because if I'm not careful, those additional calories could very easily be another meal or two. Now, in the moment, I love it. It's quick and it's easy, and quite honestly, it's pleasurable. Especially if it's something sweet, which it probably is 8 times out of 10. And when I think about it, snacking is very much a game of what you want versus what you need. And 90% of the time, snacking is what you want. I can't think of a time where I've needed to snack in order to survive. And I think becoming aware of your psychological wants for food is so important. And especially the triggers. I just got into the gym and I'm feeling a little bit carb depleted. Last night I felt like I slept all right, but yeah, in the gym. So I'm gonna see how I feel in terms of whether it's like an intense workout or if it's having any type of effect negatively. But yeah, generally I feel okay, not great, but okay. But yeah, time to get in it.
Wait, so I think we need to understand fasting and the difference between a fed state and a satiated state.
When you're in a fed state, you're not absorbing all the nutrients from your food. And your fed state starts from when you have your first meal and 3 to 4 hours after you have your last meal. But the problem is we're always usually in a satiated state.
And it's very hard to burn fat when you're in a satiated state because your blood sugar levels are quite high.
Versus being on an empty stomach. And when your body is free from digesting foods for long enough, your body goes into this post-absorptive state, which is typically 12 to 18 hours after your last meal. And for the majority of us, it's rare that we actually do this. When you're in this state, it's a lot more easier to burn fat.
So that's all that fat that's already been stored in your body. That fat that was previously inaccessible because you was always in a satiated state. So I'm about to start warming up. So I was just thinking, when it comes to working out, especially when you're doing intermittent fasting, there's a couple factors that you need to take into account. So when you first start doing this, your workouts at the start, they're not gonna be as intense. It's gonna take a little more longer for you to warm up and for you to get in the zone. And if you're like me, if you do any type of weight training, you're not gonna be lifting as heavy as you usually do. So take that in consideration. But what I do find is that I'm able to work out for longer and it just feels more comfortable. And when it comes to any type of fitness, when you're incorporating intermittent fasting, it's not just fasting that's gonna aid you to weight loss. It's a multitude of things that comes together. And it's just a small part in the bigger equation of just losing weight. For example, your sleep, your diet, what you're consuming, your hydration. Are you taking any rest days? Recovery plays a big part in also when it comes to weight loss. Intermittent fasting is just one part to the wider goal of losing weight. And also there's a certain sense of lightness also, not just physically, but mentally. There's a type of focus I'm having after my workouts where there's just clarity in my thoughts. And in the mornings, I'm finding I haven't got that mental fog when I have something sugary, whenever I eat something in the morning. And for that reason, I'm happy. So I think I'm gonna make a change to one of my meals. It's my first meal when I break my fast. And I think I need to opt to something a bit more lighter. I don't want something that's too heavy because I'm finding this actually makes me feel just not great.
So to opt for something a bit more lighter, I'm incorporating a bit more whole foods into my diet. So what I have here is bread, avocado, basil, some eggs, and some cherry tomatoes. So what I plan to do with this is make a bruschetta. So once that's fried, I'll get my other ingredients ready to put on top, which is my basil, who doesn't love the smell of fresh basil, avocado and tomato cherries. And once that's done, I'll put it all together and I'll either sprinkle some sea salt on there and some black pepper. And there you have it. It's a light, quick and easy meal to make. And I love this because it doesn't feel like I'm eating too heavy and it definitely fills me up when I do eat it. I'm gonna enjoy this one. Upon reflection, before doing this challenge, there would be the odd occasion where I'd actually would enter a fasted state, but it would be unintentional. So this would be moments where I may have been stressed or I just didn't have time to have all my meals that I would usually eat. But then what would happen is then I would kind of binge eat and try to have all my meals in one sitting and kind of overeat. This would then lead to me not having a good night's sleep and it would just lead to me tossing and turning because I'd eaten so much in one go. But it's been a few days now and I'm actually starting to think about food differently and my thought process when it comes to
thinking about my meals, because it's interesting. In the mornings, there's a sticking point and it's around 11. And during that morning, I'm kind of fantasizing about the meals that I'm gonna have and how I'm gonna eat it and all these things. But what happens is the afternoon arrives. Once I get over that sticking point of 11 a.m., I'm actually fine. Once I get to the afternoon and I have my first meal, that hunger feeling, that insatiable need to want to just snack kind of just dissipates and disappears. And after I have the first meal, it's a subtle, it's not even a hunger feeling. It's just, okay, I've got another meal coming soon. And I'm not having that knee-jerk reaction to want to have something so dense and high in calories. And that cutoff point, again, helps with my sleeping. And I see it really improving. I'm getting a good 8 to 7 hours of solid sleep. And I'm finding it's not as disrupted as it used to be. And there's a book called Sleep Smarter by the author Sean Stevenson. And he suggests that we're all different when it comes to the best time for having your last meal before bed. He suggests for himself having his last meal anywhere between 2 to 3 hours before going to bed works really well. And I've actually found this piece of advice to work for me also. Depending on the size of the meal, 2 to 3 hours also works best for me in order to have a comfortable night's sleep. So I just wanted to elaborate on this habit of snacking. Most of us are doing it unknowingly and unconsciously. When you think about snacking, it's continuous and it's at irregular time intervals. And this doesn't serve us any use. And when I think about it, all the times that I've ever snacked or been snacking, it's when I've been doing something at the same time. It's been done when I've been distracted, whether it's at work or I'm watching a movie. And when you're snacking at this velocity, it's usually something that is hyper palatable, something that has been designed for you just to eat quickly. They are designed to give you satisfaction in that moment. Because even if you used to eat a lot of it, you would never actually feel full up. All the times where I think when I've been snacking or I've eaten McDonald's on a rare occasion, it's never felt good and I've never felt satiated. And satiated is the goal. You want to feel full up after eating. And when you're doing something like fasting, you want to feel full for as long as possible. So to combat this, I'll be incorporating as much whole foods as I can into my diet. Foods designed by nature and a variety of them. This will ensure that I have a well-balanced diet. And I've noticed focusing my diet towards whole foods, it's more sustainable over the long run. It leads me to be more consistent because I'm always going to have the staples near me. And I remember going through a period where I'd have a bottle of apple juice after every meal. Me thinking at the time that that was actually quite healthy, while unknowingly I was drinking copious amounts of sugar. Even though all processed foods may not be necessarily bad, you need to be wary of the foods that could cause a problem. Hence, a bottle of apple juice could have maybe 6 or 5 apples. There's no way naturally that you could eat that amount of apples in one go. My mornings are having more clarity. I'm having more focus. I'm finding myself not necessarily eating for pleasure, but more for function. And I'm actually looking at my food and thinking, how is that going to make me feel for the future? Hence, am I going to feel full? Am I going to have a sugar rush? Or will I feel energized after eating whatever food I have? And I've said before, I felt like I've tapped into a different type of energy, especially when in the gym. I definitely feel a bit more efficient when it comes to my workouts. I don't feel like I need to eat copious amounts of protein. And I've learned that it's okay just to be a little bit hungry. And in a weird way, I kind of feel better feeling a little bit hungry rather than feeling full. Anyways, guys, that brings me to a close. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please smash the like button. Please comment below if you have anything to say. Please say hello. I would love to hear from you. And I'll see you guys in another one. Bye-bye.